After the death of Moses, God spoke to Joshua, reassuring him to be strong and courageous, for he would take the people into the promised land. God said, "As I was with Moses, so I will be with you." Joshua told his officers to tell the people to prepare to cross over the Jordan River, for in 3 days they would cross over. Then he sent 2 men to spy out the city of Jericho. When they came into Jericho, they went to a harlot's house. Her name was Rahab. The king of Jericho heard of the 2 men and that they had gone to Rahab's house. They approached her to find out about the 2 men, but she lied and told the king's men that they had been there but that they had left, and she didn't know where they had gone. In fact, she had hidden them on the roof of her house underneath some stalks of flax. She returned to them and said, "I know the Lord has given you this land, and everyone is afraid of you, for we have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea for you when you came out of Egypt, and what you did to the 2 kings of the Amorites on the other side of the Jordan, Sihon and Og, whom you utterly destroyed. As soon as we heard about these things, our hearts melted, and there wasn't any courage in any man because of you. For the Lord your God, He is God in heaven above and in earth beneath. Now therefore, I pray, swear unto me by the Lord, since I have showed you kindness, that you will also show kindness to my father's house, and that you will save my father and mother and brothers and sisters and all that I have, and deliver our lives from death." The 2 spies promised them safely and that they would deal kindly with them. So Rahab let them down by a cord from the window, for her house was on the wall of the city. The spies told her to bind a line of scarlet to her window, so that they would know which house was hers when they came to take the city. When the spies returned to the Israelites' camp, Joshua told the priest carrying the ark to go before the people and to walk into the water. When their feet were in the waters would split, and they would stand in the river on dry ground as the people passed through the Jordan to the west bank of the Jordan. Then Joshua had 12 men, 1 from each tribe, take up a stone from the riverbed where the priest had stood, and they put the stones on their shoulders and carried the stones to the west bank where they would lodge for the night. With the stones they built a memorial to remember that Israel came over the Jordan on dry ground. The Lord told Joshua to have the people walk around the city of Jericho once a day for 6 days, and on the 7th day they were to walk around the city 7 times. First in line were the armed men, then the 7 priests with the 7 trumpets, or ram's horns. Next was the Ark of the Covenant and those that carried it. Then came the rest of the people. The people were not to make any noise or do any talking. They were to be completely quiet. On the 7th day, after the 7th time around, the priest blew the trumpets, and the people shouted, and the walls of Jericho fell down. Then the armed men went in and took the city, but they spared Rahab and her family. They destroyed everything and burned the city, but they took the gold, silver, brass, and iron to put in the treasury of the house of the Lord. The people were not to take anything from the city except for the things just mentioned for the treasury. But a man named Achan took something and kept it, and God's anger was kindled among the people of Israel. When Joshua sent men up to the city of Ai to capture it, the men were defeated because the Lord was not with them in this battle. When they returned to camp defeated, their hearts melted, for they did not know about the curse upon the people because of what Achan had done. Then Joshua fell with his face to the ground and confronted God as to why this happened. Then God told him that someone had taken that which was cursed and kept it. Until that man was destroyed, God would not be with them in battle. He told Joshua how to find the man. Joshua did as God said and destroyed Achan, his family, and all that he had. Then God turned from the fierceness of his anger. After that, God sent the Israelites to do battle against Ai, and they defeated it. The people of Gibeon feared Israel because of Israel's victories, and they deceived Joshua into thinking they were people from a faraway place. Joshua made a peace treaty with them without consulting God about these people, and because he had made a treaty with them, he could do no harm to them. So when he found out they were, in fact, a part of the land which God had promised to Israel, Joshua allowed them to live, but as servants to the children of Israel. When 5 of the Canaanite kings approached Gibeon to take it because they had made a treaty with Israel, the Gibeonites called upon Joshua to help them. So Israel went to their aid and defeated the 5 kings and killed them. Most of the enemy was killed by hailstones the Lord sent upon them. During this battle, Joshua needed more daylight for the battle and spoke, "Sun, stand still upon Gibeon, and moon in the valley of Ajalon." And the sun stood still, and the moon stayed until the people had avenged themselves upon their enemies. So the sun stood still in the midst of heaven and didn't hurry to go down about a whole day. And there was no day like that before it or after it, that the Lord hearkened unto the voice of a man, for the Lord fought for Israel. After this, Joshua conquered Lachish, Gezer, Eglon, Hebron, Debir, and many other kings and cities, and Israel took the spoils of the cities. For it was of the Lord to harden their hearts, that they should come against Israel in battle, that he might destroy them utterly, and that they might have no favor, but that he might destroy them, as the Lord commanded Moses. So Joshua took the whole land, according to all that the Lord said unto Moses, and Joshua gave it for an inheritance unto Israel, according to their divisions by their tribes, and the land rested from war. Joshua had grown old, so God told him to divide the land for an inheritance to the 9.5 tribes left. Also, Moses had promised a portion of land to Caleb because of his faithfulness. There was still some unconquered land, but Israel lived among them. The whole congregation of the children of Israel assembled together at Shiloh and set up the tabernacle of the congregation there. 6 cities were set apart as cities of refuge, where a manslayer could go and live safely until the high priest died. Then he could go back to his home. No one was allowed to go into the cities of refuge to harm a manslayer who had accidentally killed someone. The tribe of Levi did not have one specific area of land apportioned for them, because they got a certain number of cities in each of the other tribes' land. Altogether, the tribe of Levi received 48 cities. The 2.5 tribes on the east of the Jordan River, the tribes of Reuben, Gad, and the half-tribe of Manasseh, built an altar to the dismay of the other 9.5 tribes on the west of the Jordan. They almost went to war over this, until the tribes on the east explained it. They said, "The Lord God of gods, he knows, and Israel shall know, if it be rebellion, or if in transgression against the Lord, that we have built us an altar to turn from following the Lord, or if to offer burnt offerings or meat offerings or peace offerings on it, let the Lord himself require it. And if we have not rather done it for fear of this thing, saying, in time to come, your children might speak unto our children, saying, What have you to do with the Lord God of Israel? For the Lord hath made Jordan a border between us and you children of Reuben and the children of Gad. You have no part in the Lord. So shall your children make our children cease from fearing the Lord. Therefore we said, Let us now prepare to build us an altar, not for burnt offering, not for sacrifice, but that it may be a witness between us and you and our generations after us, that we might do the service of the Lord. When Joshua was old and stricken in age, he called together all of Israel, the elders, heads, judges, and officers, and said to them, You have seen all that the Lord has done unto all the nations because of you, and that he has fought for you. I have divided unto you by lot these nations that remain, to be an inheritance for your tribes. And the Lord your God, he shall expel them from before you, and drive them from out of your sight, and you shall possess their land. Be courageous to keep and to do all that is written in the book of the law of Moses, that you turn not aside to the right hand or to the left, that you come not among these nations that remain among you. Don't mention the name of their gods. Don't serve them or bow yourselves to them, but cleave unto the Lord your God, as you have done this day. If you go back to the nations that remain among you, and make marriages among them, and go in unto them, and they to you, know for a certainty that the Lord your God will no more drive out any of these nations from before you, but they shall be snares and traps unto you, and scourges in your sides, and thorns in your eyes, until you perish from off this good land which the Lord your God has given you. It shall come to pass that as all good things are come upon you, which the Lord your God promised you, so shall the Lord bring upon you all evil things, until he has destroyed you from off this good land which the Lord your God has given you. Joshua said, Choose you this day whom you will serve, but for me and my house we will serve the Lord. And Israel served the Lord all the days of Joshua and all the days of the elders that outlived Joshua.